Okay, let's welcome them. Give them a round of applause. Good morning, everyone. We shall begin this exciting event. I'm sure you're happy that you got up early enough to get here by 9 a.m. this morning. We have, of course, Mr. Sam Altman, Mr. Kevin Weil, and our president, Dr. Teruo Fujii, and our executive vice president, Dr. Kaori Hayashi here. So let's start. Our time is limited. I'm going to ask President Fujii to give a short opening remark.
Well, okay, good morning, everyone. I'm Teruo Fujii, President of the University of Tokyo. And it is indeed my great pleasure to welcome Sam and Kevin here, Mr. Sam Altman and Mr. Kevin Weil. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, two visionary leaders in the field of innovation and technology. And your contribution to the transformation of contemporary society are truly inspiring, and we are very excited to have you here today. Thank you so much. And as Japan's leading institution of higher education, the University of Tokyo has been at the forefront of groundbreaking discoveries and innovation for nearly 150 years. And while we take pride in our accomplishment, we also recognize the urgent need to better align ourselves with a rapidly changing society. As you know, including, among others, climate change, environmental degradation, and so on and so forth. So I recently returned from World Economic Forum in Davos, and where I gained a renewed sense of urgency to redouble our efforts in addressing these pressing issues. And as we all know, Sam and his colleagues are certainly disrupting industries, changing the way we learn, work, and live. And Sam has accomplished all this without even completing his undergrad studies at Stanford. That's what I heard. I was really surprised with the fact that he accomplished a lot already, and then many things to come. So today we'll hear his stories of this extraordinary success. But I want to ask you, students, I'd like you to stay with us at the University of Tokyo until you finish your studies here. So. By the way, our time together this morning is unfortunately very limited, so but I'm confident that we will have a meaningful discussion here and interaction with all these very nice guests. So thank you so much, and once again, welcome to the University of Tokyo. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you, President Fujii. So we're going to start this session by introducing one of the many experiments and exciting things that goes on this campus. And we have invited Professor Masahiko Inami, who's a professor of information somatics at the Research Center for Advanced Science and Technology of our university. And he and his assistant professor, Professor Wazumi Maikawa, and his graduate student, Ms. Nahoko Yamamura, are going to demonstrate the latest research that is taking place in his lab for the next 10 minutes or so. If you could stand up and approach them, that would be good.
So good morning, everyone, and thank you for coming our university. So our lab is the information somatics lab focusing on the human augmentation technology. So today we introduced this JIZAI ARMS, wearable robotic arm system. So and that can add extra arm on the human body. So we developed this system to explore whether robotic body parts might be accepted or rejected in future society. So we asked ourselves if people could easily modify our body with robotic parts, what would they want to do? So, for example, just like choosing our just like choosing what to wear every morning. So people might care about how others see them with extra robotic arm. Or you might think today isn't too busy, so maybe one extra arm is enough. Or tomorrow we have a big presentation, so we'll go with 6 arms like him. So perhaps you might think, I want the robotic arm on the actor's body or in the busy situation. So you might even say, so do you mind if I borrow your left upper arm or like that? So yeah, so we created this JIZAI ARMS to speculate on such future possibilities. So in terms of design, we prioritized the creating the system that harmonizes with the human body. So we collaborated with the prototyping and design lab led by Professor Shunji Yamanaka at the University of Tokyo. So and additionally, we made the arms easily to attach and detach, actually, so we can change the shape or number of the arms. So as shown in the video, so we experimented with how dancers wearing this JIZAI arms could create new forms of bodily expression. So of course, one of the major challenges of this technology area is how to control extra arms. So maybe, so perhaps artificial intelligence could contribute to this, to solve the
imitation learning.
yeah, or reinforcement learning would contribute to this technology. So yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank
So,
you.
yeah.
Thank you. If you have any questions, Simon, Kevin, please go
How
ahead.
heavy is that?
It's about 15 kilogram.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is really heavy, but so our arm is around 5 kilogram.
Yeah.
Maybe so less than our physical.
Okay.
It's more like
What do you like to do with it? What's the most useful thing that you found to do with it?
maybe just for as an example, of course, so collaboration is also remote collaboration.
Yeah.
So for one strong application. So now we are using so leader power control. And so if remote some master can ask so let me know how I do it.
Yeah.
This is one application.
Yeah.
And also we are able to use it for medical surgery
Right.
in near future.
Thank you very much. So good. We have about 30 to 35 minutes for questions and answers. So I know you have many questions, but let me just start by setting up some themes. Let's start with any of you who have questions about how you feel about using ChatGPT as a student, your impression, or any questions related to the use of ChatGPT as students of this university. And you better raise your hand first. I know it's always no one raises their hand in the initial 10 seconds, but you better raise your hand fast and first.
We're here for your bugs, your feature requests.
I want to ask your view of society with generative AI in the next 10 years, 30 years, and 100 years. And especially I'm interested in the field of education, so how this technology will change education. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Education is one of the few areas we care about most. It's amazing to see already what's happening, but I think every student in the world, every person in the world can get a better educational experience than the best educational experience available today. If you see what's happening with their early personalized tutoring, companies that are building on top of technologies like ours to sort of like help people learn in whatever the best style is and wherever their weak points are over their whole life, I think that's going to go very far. Students are some of the biggest users of ChatGPT, and it, I think, so naturally appeals to it so naturally works for education. I know that not as much there has happened in Japan, but I'm excited and would encourage you all to go build those things. I think it'll be really wonderful. 100 years out feels impossible to even conceptualize at this point. I think the world will be so totally, there will be, I just cannot imagine, I can't conceptualize what the capabilities of AI in 100 years will look like. In 10 years, I think it will still have hugely changed the world. We will see the rate of scientific progress, scientific discovery, maybe go up by like a factor of 10 from where it is today, maybe a factor of 100, something like that. And if you believe that which I do, that scientific progress is the most important way that the economy, the world gets better, the economy grows sustainably, then to 10 or 100x that rate of progress, I think is hard to conceptualize, but it'll be the world will be moving faster for sure, and it'll be a super increase in quality of life. And there'll be all these ways that it's super different, like the space probes will be leaving Earth, and we'll have just like these amazing things happening, and anything you can imagine the AI can figure out how to create. And then other than, people will still be living their daily lives in similar ways and still be like very motivated to hang out with their friends and create families and have their hobbies. And so I think it'll be like, in some sense, everything will change, and in some other sense, what it means to be a human will change, like not at all. And I have no concerns that we'll run out of things to do, or, there won't be any more work or any more fulfillment. Like we will just, the landscape will have changed, the jobs will be different, but we'll still kind of function very much the same.
Thank you. Kevin, do you have a comment or?
I think Sam covered it very well.
Okay.
Just related to the topic of this education. So I also really want to see this kind of equitable access to all these AI tools throughout the world. So is there any idea of, from your...
One of our, a thing we say around the office is intelligence too cheap to meter. We want to figure out how to drive the cost of intelligence down as close to zero as we can, so that we can make it available to everyone in the world. Like, intelligence and access to these systems should be as close to free as possible. And we also really care about the equitable goal, which is why we want to do that.
And just to prove that we mean it, if you go back 2 years ago when GPT-3 launched, and then you compare that to today with some of our models, their models today are way smarter, and they are 1% the price of GPT-3 originally. So the cost has come way down, and we want to keep doing that.
Great to know.
Great to know. Professor Hayashi, would you like?
My question would be, as an educator at the higher education institute, what do you think will be the talent and skills more appreciated in the age of AI? I think the value of knowledge can be a bit different, will change a little bit in the future. And so if you give our students some advice, what type of talent and skills you mostly think that is more precious, important?
In terms of specifics, like, are you gonna be better at the AI at math, or a better programmer than the AI on its own, or better at physics? The answer is no, you will not be better at any of those things. And so specific skills, you'll be able to do things with AI that no one could do before, and there'll be new ways to work with it. But like the raw, when the calculator was invented, there were people who said, no matter how good this calculator gets, I'm going to stay better at arithmetic. These people who were just really great at it. And no one can outrun the calculator. But that was okay, because we use the calculator and we start doing more complex math. In any given area, it will be the same thing. You will not outrun the AI on raw horsepower. That's over. That's probably over this year. But using the tools, you can do all sorts of new things that will just not be possible. What I think it's going to be like is that every person has access to, as if they ran the best, most competent company on earth. And you can go in the same way that if you ran that company, you can come up with ideas and ask the people that work at the company to do it and figure out how to like orchestrate that. you can do that with AI. So everybody can go do that, and amazing new things will come out of it. But the skills that you need in that world are figuring out what people want, sort of creative vision, quick adaptability, resilience as everything is changing around you, and the sort of learning how to work with these tools to do way more than people could without it, but not trying to say like, I'm going to outrun the calculator.
And to me, the lesson in there, the thing to take away now is just start using these tools. Start incorporating them into the way that you work, into the way that you study. When you're doing something new, ask yourself, is there a way that AI could help me do this faster? Do I need to be doing this myself, or can I outsource it to AI? And you find yourself gradually getting more efficient. You learn new techniques. You stay up, with the state of the art as AI changes, and you're going to be best fit and adapted to working with AI in the future.
Thank you. May I open the floor for the students, or do you have additional comments? Okay. And Sam and Kevin, please feel free to ask them questions if you have any as well. But let's
just to make it
oh, sure.
make sure. So that means that we as human would also should adapt to this new technology, and then it's a kind of co-evolving situation.
I think co-evolution of society and technology is the exact right framework. It's not. I think that the wrong way to think about it is just like this thing is going to happen. It's going to it's going to beat us at everything. What will happen is it'll be like step by step evolving together, and what we do will be unimaginable to people that used to have to work without this technology. Like think about what someone can do today relative to what someone was capable of 100 years ago or 1,000 years ago. The possibilities go up, the expectation goes up too. And you have to learn how to work differently with these tools, but I think the ceiling is going to be very, very high.
By the way, there's a book called Co-Intelligence by a Wharton professor named Ethan Mollick. It's short, it's about 100 pages, but it's got a lot of really thoughtful writing about how he teaches with AI and how students can think about working with AI. I think it's well worth the read.
What emergent properties would you expect from ChatGPT if you had 100 times more computing power? I know it's incrementally getting smarter, but something qualitatively new?
Yeah. So we're trying to find out. We're doing this new project called Stargate that has about 100 times the computing power of our current computer because we want to answer exactly that question. We used to be in a paradigm where we only did pre-training. And each GPT number, 1, 2, 3, 4, each of those was exactly 100x or not exactly, but very close to 100x. And at each of those, there was a major new emergent thing. Internally, we've gone all the way to about maybe like a 4.5. So if you want to get to a 5.5, you would need that 100x more. I'll come back to that in a second. The most important thing that happened in the field, or at least to us in the last year, is these new models that can do reasoning. They are an incredible new compute efficiency gain. And we can get performance on a lot of benchmarks that in the old world we would have predicted wouldn't have come until GPT-6, something like that, from models that are much smaller by doing this reinforcement learning. So we kind of have a sense. Now, the trick is when we do it this new way, it doesn't get better at everything. We can get it better in certain dimensions. But we can now, I think, more intelligently than before say that if we were able to pre-train a much bigger model and do this, where it would be. And the thing that I would expect based off of what we're seeing with a jump like that is the first bits or sort of signs of life on genuine new scientific knowledge. So right now, GPT-4 can, or that's even too easy. Let's say like O3, our very latest, best model. That can program unbelievably well. And if people have already done it, it's not so good at going to like invent totally new algorithms, and or new physics or new biology. And that's the thing I think you'll get with the next 2 orders of magnitude. It's really quite, the progress over the recent scale is quite amazing. Our very first reasoning model was like a top 1 millionth competitive programmer in the world. People thought that was very impressive. It's like, wow, an AI, it's, you know, the millionth best people that do this. That's pretty good. We then had a model that got to like top 10,000. O3, which we talked about publicly in December, is the 175th best competitive programmer in the world. I think our internal benchmark is now around 50, and maybe we'll hit number 1 by the end of this year. So that's like an amazing rate of scale for more compute in this new paradigm, and we don't see any signs of that stopping.
I really appreciate it as someone who uses ChatGPT pro user, and yeah, thank you. And I'm curious to know, within the limits of what you can disclose, could you please share your future research plans, as well as what you currently see achievable, and what you might particularly prove particularly challenging?
Sure. So on Friday, we launched O3 Mini.
Yeah.
And I think that points to a lot of what future research will look like over the next 6 or 12 months. We will push small, incredibly capable, incredibly fast reasoning models as far as we can. And you know, right now those are mostly good at STEM, but they'll get good at everything else. We will bring all of the modalities together. So in the same model, you'll be able to have a voice stream going while it writes and compiles code for you in Canvas, and you'll be able to look at it that way. It'll be able to be off browsing the internet. And then we'll continue to scale up models. So, you know, hopefully GPT-5, 6, whatever. Today, or I think actually like half an hour ago, we launched a new thing called Deep Research. It's in the Pro plan. It will come to the Plus tier at limits, but it's in the Pro plan today. This is the second agent product that we've launched, and it's really quite, I think it's one of the best things we've ever launched. You can give this a task that you would have to spend many hours or days researching on the internet, thinking about finding stuff, and it'll come back with a report. It's not just good at doing like reports for school, but it is really good at that. It's pretty good across the board, and it feels like a real agent. I love like 90s JDM cars, so I was in town this weekend, and I wanted to find a specific one, and I was having a really hard time, and I was like, I'm going to try giving this to Deep Research. There's no way it's going to find me one. And it found the only 3 for sale in all of Japan, like with contact information ready to go. It was an amazing experience. So we'll do more agents like that. We'll continue to push on agents that can do useful work for you autonomously. We've talked about how the dream is to get to a coding agent. There's a lot of research still to get there, but I think that'll be a really like hugely important milestone. And overall, I hope that by, you know, the end of this year, we have a model that you can use. If you have the Pro tier, you can turn the compute all the way up, and you can ask it a really hard question, not one that requires discovering new science, but most things short of that. And you kind of just get it to work. It may have to go off and think for a few hours. It may have to go use a bunch of tools, but it kind of just does it for you. We've got a long way to go to get there. That's like a lot of scale, a lot more algorithmic progress, but I think it is achievable.
I'm really curious in the current use of the OpenAI and the AI in general regarding the world situation. So I have one question about that. I think OpenAI has a really strong connection with the Microsoft. And from 2 years ago, Microsoft have been providing AI-powered service to the Israeli military and the Israeli government, including those utilizing the OpenAI. This AI service has been actively used in the invasion of Gaza. So given that OpenAI technology has been used to kill Palestinians now, do you have like any plans to take a measure against that or address that issue? This is my question. Thank you so much.
I mean, I don't have any details on the actual uses that you're talking about. In general, our policies our policies forbid using AI in offensive ways, and also require for things like that a human in the loop. So we do not intend for our AI to be used. The AI is not ready to be used in anything like that. And I would be surprised personally if it were sort of directly in the line of that kind of action.
Earlier you mentioned making intelligence accessible to everybody, and with the recent release of China's DeepSeek AI, along with the open publication of their weights and architecture, the validity of OpenAI's shift away from open source has been called into question. Are there any plans to reconsider that stance, and what would be the justification?
Yeah, we're going to do it. I don't know exactly what we're going to open source or exactly when, but it does seem to us like the direction of travel is towards more open models available, and that society is willing to take the trade-offs, at least for now, that come with that. And, I think we've made good progress on getting these models to be generally safe and robust. In open source uses, they won't all be used that way, but they will be most of the time. So yeah, I'd expect us to move in that direction.
Okay, so there are a lot of hands up. So I'm going to ask 3 students to go in a row, and then you can choose what to answer, if that's okay. Let's go with you in the front.
I want to ask, so I've been using OpenAI for like my personal assistant for the past 2 years, and it's super helpful. And I wonder, with the development of brain-computer interface, how do you think that it will affect how people how our conscious exists in the future, and what you thought on the next generation of post-human paired with AI technology?
And I'm studying about the small satellites engineering, and I'm making small satellites for space. And I have a question about satellites and AI, because in general, it's very difficult to use AI for new technologies like AI for satellites in space. So what do you think about the future of harmony of AI and space engineering?
Can you share your thoughts about what AI will be in 10 years in the future? Okay, thank you.
Okay, so you had 3 questions.
We'll do them all fast.
Okay.
On brain-machine interfaces, I think this is an incredible time to pursue that. I think that there is clearly, we're going to figure something out. And having sort of direct access, it may take a while, to an AI, as you think, is going to be incredible. I'm skeptical of a lot of the very destructive approaches, but I think there's some lighter ones where you'll kind of learn how to use the interface, and there's so much that can go into your brain over a low bit rate that we're going to figure this out. I think it's the most interesting new companies I've seen in the last 6 months have been in this direction. You want to take the space one?
Yeah, sure. I'm also very excited about brain-computer interfaces, by the way. Yeah, so actually before I came to OpenAI, I was working at a company called Planet that builds satellites and images the whole world every day. And the most recent satellite that we launched has a GPU in it and is meant to run AI models in space in order to more quickly send down results and things like that. I agree with you. It's challenging because we're releasing a new model every 3 months at this point, and your timelines for space are much longer. But as models we are getting better at putting more and more power into space. Rockets are getting bigger, so you can launch bigger satellites, bigger solar panels, and models are getting smaller, so you can run them more efficiently. So I think the answer is that everything is converging to there being more AI in space, and I think that's a pretty cool outcome.
To make a specific prediction, if we talk about the 2025 in total intelligence on Earth, so all of the people, all of the coordination, all of the AI, just the total intellectual capacity on Earth, I would say that in 2035, maybe if the progress chart continues, then a single data center is smarter than the current total intellectual capacity of Earth. Now, in practice, you have to freeze it in time like that, because what's going to happen is we're going to learn all the way along there, and we're all going to individually get more capable. Our companies are going to get more capable, and that thing won't seem that impressive anymore. But if you could compare 2035, one big data center, to 2025, all of Earth, I think it would be astonishing.
Fujii Sensei, do you have a comment?
So intellectual capacity includes all this understanding of the physical world.
We'll get there. By 2035, we'll get there.
Yeah, okay.
In 10 years, our university education will be fundamentally different,
Yeah,
perhaps.
well, should be. Yes.
Did you want to say?
I think it should be different today. I think university education in 2025 versus 2022 should be quite different.
We know for training AI models, we know we require large scale data set, but in terms of very scarce data set, at that time, what types of strategies does OpenAI recommend for training such models?
Okay.
One of the interesting things that we see is that as the models get smarter, you need fewer examples to fine tune them, to make them, to help them learn something new, which is sort of intuitive when you think about it, right? If a model is increasingly intelligent, then it should need fewer new prompts to learn something new. So I actually think the trends are going in the right direction for very smart models to be able to learn new areas, whether it's construction management or anything else, off of a smaller number of data points.
I want to start a business, then what is most important thing to build good team?
First of all, I think that's great. Before OpenAI, I used to run something called Y Combinator to help people start companies, and we funded many great Japanese companies. I think the most important thing of early team members is people who are have a lot of energy, are very determined. There's a quote from Paul Graham called "relentlessly resourceful" that was what you need to look for the initial team members, more so than any specific expertise. The early days of a new business are just very, very difficult, and so you want people who have that kind of energy.
Any additional comment about that from Kevin?
No, I like that. I think you're going to run into all kinds of different things, and you want people who are going to be flexible, who are not going to say, who are not going to give up, and who are very good learners, because you're going to encounter things that you never would have expected. So you want people who are like, oh, I can figure that out. Let me go try that.
Fujii, do you have a comment about startup? And no? No?
Hold on and keep going.
Keep going. Okay, good.
How can we build a group of robots with an AI that develops their own language by themselves to communicate with each other and cultivates their own culture? I think one of the key factors might be the integration of eyes and ears into the abstract thinking framework. That's my question.
Now that the first agents are coming online, you're starting to see people build, some people call them swarms, some people call them teams, civilizations of agents, whatever. And I expect that they will develop new ways to communicate and share information. It may not be as dramatic and exciting as the sci-fi movies led us to believe, but it will happen and it'll work. I don't think you need physical eyes and ears, but you do need good input-output. And I think we're starting to see that. I think these multi-agent things, very, very exciting.
Which is that I used to work on, and then the most difficult thing is so if you have this heterogeneous, so you have all these multi-agent robots, built by the same, or same company or same vendors, it will be fine. But if you have this heterogeneous environment, then that is the kind of most difficult part.
I'm majoring electric and electronical engineering, and I'm preparing to study business in cooperation with publishers to develop the AI-powered book search engine. Given how rapidly technology advances in fields like AI or LLM, how can a startup maintain its competitive edge, do you think?
You still have to find something to build. The normal rules of business still apply. You have to still find something to build that has enduring value and stickiness and something differentiated. There are a lot of startups that say, well, I'm using AI, so the rules don't apply, and it always does. Otherwise, you will not build up the differentiation. So I think the best book written about startups still was this book called 0 to 1 that Peter Thiel wrote a while ago now, maybe 10 years ago. but it talks in there a lot about what the long-term competitive advantages are. And I still think it's like the best list or the best enumeration.
Thank you so much.
And
Okay.
I'll take something Sam has said before, which is when you're talking about how you build with respect to AI that's getting better and better and better, you want to be building something that is at the edge of that's really pushing model capabilities. You know, if you're building something and you're nervous about our next model release because it might be able to do the thing that you're doing, that's not a good place to be. But if you're building something and you can't wait for our next model release because you're just at the edge of capabilities and our next model release that'll be that much smarter is going to make your product amazing, that's a good place to be. So build in a way that every time the model gets smarter, your product is going to get better.
Thank you. I was wondering if you have any questions to our students.
What would you like us to build? Like, what would make you be like, I love ChatGPT much more?
Okay, who wants to answer that?
I'm not a power user like maybe some other students here of ChatGPT, but because I'm concerned about the environmental footprint of my actions. And I'm really interested in the plans that you have on this dimension of ChatGPT in your products.
Two things. We obviously really care. Actually, three things. We really are super passionate about this. Number one, we have reduced the cost per token from an energy basis by about 1,000x. So to any given query uses extremely little electricity now. Like the O3 mini model is really just this tiny thing. Now, the trade-off, of course, is you make something cheaper, people just use a lot more of it. So there's that piece as well. The thing number two is one of the areas that we specially focus on, and we will do more in the future for using AI for science, is climate in general and clean energy in particular. Also open to carbon capture, radical ideas like solar radiation, whatever. But I think we have evidently not been smart enough to really truly solve climate issues on our own. And using these tools to help us get there, I think is my best idea about what we're going to do. And then third is, I think the world is very close to commercially viable fusion, and that will completely change the landscape, AI and beyond. But if that quickly becomes the cheapest energy source on Earth and runs at a super safe, super reliable way, which I think it will, then everyone's going to switch to it fast. You see a few examples in history where an energy revolution happened, and if you can like undercut costs by a multiple, like 2x, 3x, to say nothing of 10x, the world changes very fast.
My answer is that I want something related to like hardware development, especially when you debugging the software. Yeah, the AI tool is very nice, but especially for building some circuit or like real stuff, it's still very hard to debugging this stuff to make it work. So how do you think about this future work?
That's coming. The next O models will be much better. Like they've put in a lot of training data for things like that. So that'll be in there.
Oh.
Be really good.
I hope in particular, things like being able to take a picture of your setup and say like, this isn't working, what's going on with this? And yeah.
This morning I just thought of like, I probably should do something very interesting. So I asked 3 different AI models. I said, I got a chance to answer or like basically ask some questions to the management of OpenAI, but I want you to like put some questions forward. One of the things that really interests me is that they mentioned thing about the ethics, because for the past 2 or 3 years, they said there has been issues like the exploitation of Kenyan workers, data labelers, the error rate for non-English non-English-based questions. I'm a little bit nervous, sorry. As well as the problem of MIT. They basically claim that 70% of DAO-E3's data are illegally scraped. So both ChatGPT and also the DeepSeek, they asked me to ask you, basically ask them the question, how are you going to make the OpenAI's efforts more ethical in general? So I guess that's basically what I also want to ask you.
So my answer is maybe we should make AI which is not perfect. we have to think about the emotional consequences between the AI and the human. So therefore, maybe we can think what makes AI to make us happy, and what should we teach AI, and what should be maintained in our humanity to be unsustainable but valuable for our human society. This is what's the answer of your question.
We will work on that.
Okay, our time's running out, unfortunately. If you
Thank
have
you.
any advice or comments to the students?
No, thank you very much. We got
Okay,
to cover
thank
it.
you. Kevin?
Yeah, what I said earlier, I think, is just like start using, whether it's our product or any product, just start using AI, because it will be a bigger and bigger part of all of our lives. And the more that we all co-evolve with it, I think that was a very good term, the better we're all going to be. And please continue to give us feedback. We love feedback. Both Sam and I are very out on Twitter and other places, so we always love to hear feedback. You can help us make the product better for you. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you very much. I just want to ask Professor Hayashi, our Executive Vice President, to give a brief closing remark before we have a photo session.
Okay, thank you so much for this inspiring talk, and I feel a big enthusiasm from the floor, and we realize and we confirm that what vast possibilities we will have in terms of the technology AI. And let's continue to think about how we can best use these technologies to promote our science and research, and also our thinking in the way of life. So thank you very much, Sam and Kevin, for coming over to us and talk with our students. And please come back, and next time a little bit longer. Thank you very much.
Thank you.